A very good afternoon to all of our viewers, and welcome to a warm afternoon here at Tau Game Lodge in Madikwe Game Reserve. And we're starting off again this afternoon with a zebra and against this beautiful green background here at Tau, and you can see the beautiful yellow flowers all over, and it looks hot there today. You can see the zebras are all standing close to each other, head against buttocks. And just have a look. You can see from the branches moving in the back, it looks like there's a slight breeze going, but with all the butterflies and the other flying insects around, I think this is going to be a very, very, very hot day and very good afternoon, hopefully, around the watering holes. The heat brings the animals to come and drink, but I'm sure that the insects will bother. I'm Japie Potgieter. I'm your host for this afternoon, and once again very excited. There we go, the excitement starting again. You can see that zebra in the middle of the group pulling his ears backwards, and it looks like he was, as he moved backwards, which is normally kind of behavior associated with a slight aggression, it means that he will move back and try and possibly even kick at that little one. But that was not for sure the case. But I do know that sometimes the stallions within a group does show a little bit of aggression towards the younger ones. And just have a look. The ears constantly flicking, the skin twitching, another way that these animals have adapted for life out on the plains. Obviously the grass being the perfect spot to harbor a good solace for the insects. And another one of the famous creatures around this area of Madikwe, the elephant coming in. And I always find it interesting, the elephants at Madikwe coming into the water down here, and they often have a look. They have the brownish red color of the soil further away from the water, right on the back and on the forehead as they approach. Looks like a nice big herd coming in. And you can see the well-known, oh, there's one with a grass to pay. You can see the head bobbing, so they're coming down to have a drink. There we go. I want to remind us this is a live and interactive show, so send your questions to wildearth.tv/questions, and then of course you can also scan the QR code at the bottom right hand side of the screen then, and you can join in on the entertainment this afternoon. You can ask questions, send comments, let me know if there's anything in particular that you are hoping to chat about. You can also join us on X using hashtag WildEarth. And of course you can also join us via YouTube, or you can join us on the app. And just have a look. Good warm, well, solace from the heat. Thirsty elephants. There's a little one in the background running, probably got separated and left behind a little bit, probably got preoccupied with some of the others. Now, if I had to take a guess, I'd say it's probably a young male. And more elephants coming. This is turning out to be quite the spectacle around this watering hole here. This is amazing. And on that note, Penelope Kenyon, you're saying such a big herd. Great. I agree, Penelope. This is a huge herd. What a spectacular sight to see. You can see the other animals, the zebras in the background, not even bothered. They know there's plenty to go around. And then Penelope, you're also saying hello to everybody at Wild Earth, to the Zoomies and chatters, and you're saying that after such an amazing fast-paced sunrise safari, you're waiting for a calm and relaxed waterhole show. So let's see what's happening. Thus far it seems quite relaxed. I think the most hasty thing we've witnessed was the approach of these elephants to the water. And that's completely understandable. Such a large animal. In this time of the day, they often are found near or at the water's edge. Now, the one thing here at Tau is that there's not a lot of shady trees in the immediate vicinity of the edge of this watering hole, and that's why the animals come and drink and then they move away. But it looks like there's some cloud cover moving over, which means these elephants might use this time, and by the looks of it they also didn't have any other water or wet signs on them, so they might spend a little bit of time, and I guess it depends on the herd as well, so we'll see. But then we got a comment from Ellie saying hello to the Wild Earth team and a wonderful Saturday to all of you and all the Live at the Watering Hole fans. You are excited to see what we'll see on the show today. So am I, Ellie. So am I. Just have a look. What a beautiful view. Look at all that green grass. And that herd has got a few thirsty members. You can see the biggest elephant, that cow out in the middle of the group. Doesn't look like there's any haste to move. Blizzard King, hey to you too, and good to know that you're joining us as well. You can see the moment those clouds move away, the heat does intensify a little bit. I think there was a rush here to drink, but maybe, let's see, maybe there might be a little bit of time to play around and wet themselves before they move on. That would be very, very awesome to see. Joan Mello, a good Catterday to you too. And thank you for wishing everybody at Wild Earth a good Catterday. Let's hope that there will be some cats seen today. Talking about cats, been very fortunate in the past to see one cheetah here at Tau. Very unusual. Around a watering hole in the middle of the day. Not completely unheard of. R. Laura Moore.
Join me, Andrew Wistenholm, for an indescribable 6-night stay in the beautiful Albany of the Eastern Cape at Amakhala Game Reserve. Now, this trip is going to be action-packed with a lot of storytelling, adventure, as well as the opportunity to make everlasting memories. We'll be exploring the best of Amakhala by staying at 2 luxury lodges, which will be the perfect blend of comfort as well as wilderness. Book your spot today and let's get ready to explore the wild beauty of Amakhala.
Join the Wild Earth YouTube superfan community and unlock a world of additional perks. Get exclusive early access or discounts to Wild Earth travel deals. Wear the best bush attire with merchandising discounts. Enjoy an interactive live monthly private safari. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience. Join the YouTube superfan community today.
Would you like to know at what age a buffalo calf gets its horns? These are questions that you can ask me in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a serviceman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
So we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Two young ones at the back. You can see they're just disappearing below the bank there. Let's have a look. They should be covered in this rather pale mud. Provides very, very good protection from the sun. Have a look, that little one went down completely. Trying to get more. And from a visit to this watering hole there. Oh, look at that. The larger cow was using the younger one to scratch her chin, the hard to reach parts. Grabbing some debris out of the ear. Have a look at the careful monitoring of the little one. Just making sure it's okay. You can see the little one's struggling a little bit to get out, or maybe it's just enjoying the bank there. But it is carefully paying attention. Won't necessarily interfere. Also very much aware that that little one needs to learn certain lessons on its own. And this is the amazing thing about elephant behavior, and one of the fortunate things of being able to see elephants and watch them every day. And their behavior is mostly learned by watching others and interacting with the others. That's why the herd is such a crucial part. For the first few months their mother, the first few days and months, and then gradually the siblings and the other young female elephants in the group. Catherine, you're saying hi to Mika and me. Hi to you too, Catherine. I hope we have a good afternoon, and I hope you enjoy. Well, from a warm, breezy northwestern part of South Africa, we'll head down to Stony Point in the Cape to see what's happening down there. Penguins in a row. Lots of penguins basking. Just have a look. How inviting does that ocean look? Constant motion of the waves. You can see it's hot here. See all the washed up stumps and dried out dead bamboo. All part of the perfect habitat here for these penguins. Rather sedentary here at Stony Point Nature Reserve, Betty's Bay. See, there's a lot of grooming going on there. Looks like these guys have spent a bit of time out. And interestingly enough, the penguin can travel very large distances once it's out. It swims off. It stays close to the shore, not too far away, but it travels quite far distances if it needs to. Very, very busy on that beach. What a nice patch that they've chosen. Indeed a good spot. Joan Mello, you saying Stony Point is awesome? Yes, indeed it is. It is a very, very awesome place, Stony Point. Very, very awesome point indeed. There's always some good birds here to catch up on. Lots of cormorants around as well. Ellie, you saying the penguins are looking so smart in their smoking kind of suit? Indeed they do. They always look like they're wearing a some very fancy black and white suit. And then they also look like they're standing around having very important discussions. John Miller, you saying you can smell the salt air or the salty air through your phone? That's very good to hear. And talking about that, I have seen recently with some technological advancements that for people that play a lot of online gaming, that there is there was essentially a virtual tongue developed, which is an interesting concept, but something that will enable people playing in virtual reality games to be able to smell and taste certain things. Not sure the full details of that, but quite an interesting development, and who knows, maybe in the future even wildlife viewing online might be even more submersive. Immersive is the better word that I would want to use rather. Well, I think we're pretty fortunate to be able to get a chance to see these birds and other animals around the watering hole in the middle of the day. Now, from what I can see, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like there is a bank cormorant there. Always a good place to check in and amongst the rocks for the hyrax. I think what I witnessed there, to be honest, was a crowned cormorant, which is quite cool. I think there was one sitting on the white bar there, if I'm not mistaken. One that I wanted to see and confirm for a while, but good enough view there. There we go. What do we have there? There we go. More cormorants out on their usual spot. You can see the white tips of those rocks from their droppings. Clear indication. And these, I believe, might be the Cape cormorants. There's usually a larger one sitting, one of the white-breasted cormorants around as well. Sitting carefully there on the rock.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
We are thrilled to announce our new exclusive feature for YouTube members and explorers. Join us live every Tuesday for our sunrise and sunset safaris. Experience Tawny Tuesday like never before with up-close encounters and breathtaking moments. Don't miss out. Become a YouTube member or explorer today and immerse yourself in the heart of the bush. See you Tuesday.
Interesting how, even though I've been birding for a long time and I do travel to different areas, there's always like a reaffirmation. Always one needs to keep it up, especially in areas that you don't get too often to. And it's funny, growing up in the Western Cape, before I started working in the bush and doing birding full time, I never paid too much attention. Only later years. Just to have a look, lots of different cormorants. Amazing, these colonies are so important to these birds breeding, and it is amazing this far. They have 4 different species here today. Bank cormorant, you can see another one there on the right, slight white of the rump, starting to develop there. And what an interesting bird indeed. One in the water, it looks like. So, our Laura Moore, you are asking if the penguins that we saw earlier are called the jackass penguins. That's a good question, because they are actually, and it's more of an uncommon name to them, like one of the common used names, but it's not really its actual name. It's more a name that kind of alludes to the funny sounds that they do make. The the African penguin, as they're actually known, in Afrikaans known as a brilpikkewyn, or a spectacle penguin, if you translate that directly. But yeah, they are indeed very, very funny little creatures. The name of the jackass penguin comes from their sound, and they do have a bit of a donkey-like call that they can make. Good hiding spots there. Oh, there we go, there's a hyrax. Just moved away. Hyraxes are often sitting out. There we go. Looks like that one's missing a bit of fur there on the back end. Just hiding away. A little bit hot at this point for it. It is indeed a very, very sunny day out in the Cape. Looks like it's found a perfect spot there. Probably he's got his face half in the shade. Now these hyraxes, they do actually use their basking habits to help them. It also drives their metabolism in a little bit. And that's why we do often find them out in the heat later in the morning. When it gets too hot, of course, they seek the shade, and you can see that rocky wall provides the perfect habitat for critters like the hyrax. Go, there's the penguins again, patiently waiting around. I see some of them are laying down. The sign that they're resting, and they can be standing either, or they can be laying, because after a while it gets you a little bit hot. It's probably easier just to lay down if they've been there for a while. So they would have gone out and come back at different times, and they do travel quite a bit, so I'm sure soaking up that sunlight and drying out a little bit. I think while the penguins are drying out, what we're going to head or do is we'll head over to Founder's Lodge for the first time this afternoon and see what Afrikam's got us there this afternoon. And we have some zebra. That is amazing. It looks very windy here at Founders this afternoon. You can see, and look at that, there's one laying down on its side. What a beautiful zebra. Look at those beautiful markings on the back. Quite unique. Very, very unique markings. It's almost reminiscent. I've seen somebody mentioned tapir earlier. It's almost reminiscent of tapir's bodily markings, but also I have seen some photos in the past of melanistic zebra somewhere in East Africa, and I know that the markings look very similar to that, but of course that covered the whole of the zebra almost. But very interesting behavior, and we do often see on windy days they might be out doing that. Also areas near watering holes where you have these open patches of sand or dirt. It's usually areas used by males, by zebras, but especially the males, and it helps them, give them a good flat space to scratch. They rub the dirt and dust into their skin. It also aids in protection, and then also helps them with treatment of some of the skin parasites.
Join Wild Earth Travel on a unique nature adventure in the Greater Kruger Park. Legendary master tracker Renius Mhlongo leads a 4-day animal tracking experience in the Sabi Sand Nature Reserve. This experience offers a life-changing chance to track Africa's iconic animals on foot with a master of his craft. Renius is joined by Wild Earth presenter and expert storyteller Amy Krantz, and together they will connect you to Africa's wild heart. South Africa's wild places are closer than you think, because Federal Airlines brings them to you. From the calm of our FedAir lounge to the smooth boarding of our trusted fleet, we take care of the journey so you can enjoy the adventure. Our flights go beyond the ordinary, connecting you to South Africa's most remote and extraordinary locations. Federal Airlines, your gateway to the South African wild.
Queen. Oops. Looks like we had a bit of a a tech issue there, but no matter. We're back with more zebra at Tau. You can see there's a nice little gathering there right on the edge of the clearing, and another one, so two separate groups. And that's one thing I do always think about when I think about Tau is the zebras out in this clearing. Oh, and there we have some weaver's nests. In the foreground, what a beautiful view. You can see. Interesting that they've started building their nests on those branches. You wouldn't have said that during the dry season when that tree was being completely obliterated by the elephants, as we can see. Still hanging in there on a thread, to be honest. And there's a wildebeest. I haven't seen a wildebeest here in a while, to be honest. Looks like just one. The group's probably moved off, so if I had to take a guess, very likely a male. You can see more zebras out there in the back. You can see some of those heaps of soil. Now I'm not sure if those are rocks or termite mounds. It's just from that from the color of the soil, or the hue of the soil in this particular part. Very, very relaxed afternoon here. You can see this opening in the down, and this dip near the water has been enveloped in a cloud cover, so I think that brings the animals a little bit of respite, some lifting their heads to take a breather. So I got a question or a comment from Wildlife Lady earlier when we were at Founders, saying that it's very pretty markings on that zebra. Indeed it was, Wildlife Lady. It was very, very beautiful markings. Quite unusual. I'm not sure 100% with the genetics of the zebra in that area. Do know that those things come down to genetics, of course, but from what I understand, it should be plain zebra down that side. Oh wow, springbok. Sure. That is definitely a first for me at Tau. I don't think I've seen springbok here. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's all within their distribution and habitat. I just didn't think about it. And that is pretty spectacular and very good to see. Must be coming down to come and get in on the action. Look at their tails and ears vigorously flapping and shaking. Also trying to combat the onslaught of the flying and biting insects. But this is quite a welcome sight. Julian Branscombe, you were saying you wonder what species are the weaver's nests. Julian, I would have to have a better look up close, but I'd say very likely a southern masked weaver. Either that or village weaver. I'd say it's between those two. I have to take a guess, but I'll probably go with southern masked in this case. I know it's a little bit of a tighter woved dome-shaped nest like that. That would be my guess, at least from the distance that I've seen. But both of them do make a nest that's very similar, and they do even nest together, often in large colonies around trees with good water around, or overhanging water, and it's protected from whatever potential danger. It's usually out on the tip, which is another reason why I'd say it's probably the southern mast. Just have a look at those beautiful hills there in the background. Some zebra right near. Oh, and what do we have there? More zebra. The color just looked a little bit different. But let's see if these guys might come down for a drink. Looks like there was a little bit of a wait. Decent size, this harem. Here we go. We have the nests. So let's have a look here. I don't see any. Oh, there is a bird sitting there in the nest. What is that? Oh, it's an Amakwa dove, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it a dove or a shrike? No, it looks like an Amakwa dove. Yep. What a beautiful little bird. Looks like a male Amakwa dove. And yes, on second thought, I would say those nests do indeed look like southern masked weavers. And have a look right on the edge of the thin branches. You can imagine not a lot of things that can come up there. But something exciting's just popped up. I heard that there is a jackal at Hongwani, so I think we're going to head over there to have a quick look. Let's have a look. So somewhere in front of our eyes there are a jackal, or there's a jackal. And my apologies for the weird pronunciation of Wangi. But this is exactly what these species with their cryptic markings intend to do. Ooh, but there's a lot of other creatures around here. What a beautiful, beautiful pan right in the middle of one of these dips within what is apparently ancient sand dunes from the Kalahari. Sand that's blown in, and of course the dryland forests up on the crests, and then these beautiful open very productive strips of grassland in the middle, and that's why we have the southern grey-crowned cranes, and often some marabou storks. You can imagine this is a heaven for wildlife at certain times. There's a bit of shade there at the back, so somewhere here this is exactly the type of area that the jackal would be hiding out on, and he probably just came down for a quick drink. Wildlife Lady, saying it was an excellent sighting to view the springbok. Indeed it was. And now I've got another excellent sighting here of the grey-crowned cranes. And have a look. Those, they are just going. There must be lots of life, lots of food in amongst this tall grass. You can see every now and again one's just stretching its head up to have a look around. It's interesting to watch them. They'll forage within these groups quite close to each other. You can see the marabou stork out on the side on his own, doing some grooming and maintaining the feathers with its very long sharp bill. Just have a look, up and down motion. Here and there we can see some open patches of soil, probably from termite mounds. And then of course these areas are surrounded by some dry woodlands, broadleaf woodlands, trees that provide excellent shade. Picasso, you're asking if zebra mares normally consume the afterbirth. Picasso, from what I understand, I have read that many times, but personally, and I have seen a few zebra births, and every time I've witnessed or been lucky enough to witness a birth, I have not seen them consume it. There is theories to that, saying that it's to also hide the fact that they've given birth from predators and all of that, but I've often noticed that the baby's up quite quickly and they generally move away, and then either vultures come down or something else. And I've often found vultures up on the ground, and then usually with afterbirth. So from personal experience, I haven't seen it. Penelope Kenyon, you're saying you're loving these cranes. For sure, they are beautiful, beautiful birds. Indeed they are. And that's
Every guide in Africa has been on an endless quest for the ultimate bush wear. Until now, Rugged Wear has a huge range of amazing bush gear for every wild situation. In the midday heat, those chilly winter mornings, in the storms of summer, Rugged Wear has the bush kit for every wild occasion. Locally made in South Africa, crafted with precision, stitched with quality.
Found far away from surface water. And a small little one. Lots of interesting birds around. What do we have there? We've got quite a lot of birds around here. There's cranes, and some Egyptian geese, a marabou stork. I thought I saw some interesting birds around the water's edge there. But from this beautiful serene scene with large birds around the pans, we're going to head over to the smaller pan at Oldonyo and see if we can see some large mammals around there. Aha, and our favorite Oldonyo elephants. Always a treat. Two spectacular elephant bulls here at Oldonyo. One on the right in particular have beautiful tusks. Both of them don't look very old. They look like they might be mature bulls, but not too old. And when elephants are around this watering hole, it's a casual drink and wetting themselves. Ooh, and there is one female giraffe coming in. Let's see if she gets a chance. But I thought I saw behind on the right hand side, I thought I saw a very big elephant bull. Yep, I was wondering, I thought I saw it approaching the water, so let's have a look. You can see, look at these two. They are aware that he's approaching. So is that giraffe. So this might be interesting. Ellie, you're saying fantastic tusks indeed. Oof, have a look. This is a one-tusker coming in. He looks a little bit older than the other two, but let's have a look. That one on the water's edge is obviously clearly giving him an eye there and a look. And he's approaching with a berth. Daniel Soifer, you're saying massive tusks. Yes, indeed. And this is not something that one usually sees. Tracy L49, you're also saying this is some amazing tusks. Indeed it is. I think what we saw there, so it looks, by the looks of it, that elephant that's come in last now does look older than the other two. And I think the one to the right was probably just giving it an eye just to see what its intention was. I'm sure these elephants are well aware of each other's presence in the area, so they know each other's moods. But what an impressive elephant, even if it has only one tusk. That's one spectacular tusk. Clearly very eager to drink. Not sure how it would have lost its other tusk, but it must have been incredibly painful when it did happen. It looks like it broke off below the lip. There's a bit of a gentle touch from the other one by its backside, so I think they have an understanding. Just here to cool down. No ill feelings, and I'm sure maybe these three have been traveling in and around this area. Look, targeting that area is right behind the ears, even if they do it regularly. Now have a look, you can see that tip of that tusk has also got a bit of a groove in it. So very likely an elephant bull that travels quite far and wide, and also very likely into areas where there's some human settlements or nearby, or maybe in and around camps. And that groove on that tusk is quite deep. And let's have a look. It's out of the water. It's just cooled down a bit, but saw his trunk there on the ground, so he's probably, oh, there's a bit of a scratch. He might be looking to follow some of the others. You can see he's just investigating the wet area where the other elephants have stood. It's usually just like a gentle touch with the tip of the trunk, picking up whatever chemical cues have been left behind. So Pierre Dubois saying that elephant, also noting that little dent, saying that he's got that little dent must be an indication of his past hard life. Very likely is. You know what happens with elephant bulls that become outcasts or that don't settle well within the groups with others? They tend to be the ones that often tend to travel a bit to areas where they often do encounter human settlements or camps, and they often develop a demeanor that doesn't really show that they have any fear of people. And they tend to develop the habit of sometimes moving, either breaking out of fences or breaking into camps where they know that there's good food. I mean, in this part of Africa there's not a lot of fences around, and mostly fences are around camps. Or in some parts crops that's protected. And another elephant's in.
Seven nights on safari during the magnificent green season. The rains have stopped, the land is emerald, and there are wild babies everywhere. Meet your favorite presenters.
This is amazing.
And create unforgettable memories on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure.
Thank you for coming along on this little adventure.
The Green Season Grand Tour, only with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive. The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website. Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions.
Animals rely on their senses.
Share your thoughts and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live. Wild Earth Travel would like to take you to Namibia and Botswana. Drift over the desert in a hot air balloon, then glide through the lush Okavango Delta in a dugout canoe. This extraordinary journey blends dramatic landscapes with outdoor adventures and unparalleled wildlife encounters. Discover Africa like never before. Book now with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
And that's the best thing about these watering holes, is especially Old Donyo, and one of my favorite things about Old Donyo is to see the interaction and the different personalities of each of these large bull elephants. It's like I've mentioned quite a lot, they do spend time in similar areas. They all come to drink here. They must be aware of each other's presence, and they do get to know each other quite well. Therefore, sometimes they might split off or move on their own and then come back and forth. It might be that maybe this elephant with the one tusk might have been a bit of a loner, and this guy just wants to interact a bit and get to know him better. There we go. But it looks like the larger one just wanted to mind his own business, and obviously he's not shown any interest in a physical interaction. When the trunk tips up like that, it is often investigating, so there's definitely some interest, and they're just slowly, carefully checking each other out. And another elephant coming in. This should be very interesting. Now this is quite an interesting comparison we can make here. We can see that elephant whose head is just in frame on the right. It's got very long tusks, nearly as long as the big one on the left, but the size of the head and the shape is slightly different, so you can clearly see the age difference. And then of course behavior, which is what we're witnessing. So you can see that other younger elephant is approaching him in a very much a different way, almost like a little bit more cautious, almost in a way knowing that this one is younger and they might be able to push each other, or he might get him to engage. We can see, even though the size of those tusks are similar in length, the one to the right's tusk seems thinner at the base, right up at the lip, and the elephant on the left. Now I would love to know exactly what the age difference between those two elephants are. Now you can see from the behavior of the two in the back that they are a little bit more interested in each other. They're sizing each other up more in a manner that means that they could potentially physically push each other even though I don't think that would happen. Generally the elephants with the larger tusks are not necessarily too eager to get into fights. And you do kind of command a bit of respect in a sense. So we got a question from Bobby. How long do the batteries last in the collars? Now that depends on the collars itself. Now nowadays there's a lot of different collars getting used for these animals, and I do know that with a satellite collar in general it lasts about a year. So every year a satellite collar kind of needs to be replaced, or once a year. And with long-term study subjects, that would mean tracking that animal, finding that animal at least once a year and replacing that collar. But then nowadays, even though it's so weird, technology with collars and tracking devices on animals kind of stood still in this like safe mode for quite a while, and then suddenly in the last 5 to 10 years, but in the last 5 years especially, there's been a huge amount of progress made within tracking technology. Lots of different ones, some of them making use of both batteries and solar batteries, extending battery life, and that way collars can last for much longer. So very, very, very interesting. But yeah, just look at those elephants. Those are spectacular elephants. There's a bit of a size difference between all three of them. One on the left I'd say is the oldest, youngest in the middle, and then the one on the right is also quite a mature elephant by the looks of it now. It's got a rather broad base between the tusks and the trunk. That's quite interesting to see. You can see that younger elephant is still kind of sizing himself up against that one. And there's a bit of excitement there from both of them. Compare the elephant on the left, it's not interested in the physical interaction with his tail. It's quite relaxed, just dangling straight, with the others very curious about each other. Well, it's difficult to tell currently that the elephant in the middle is just being a nuisance. And I think he is genuinely interested. He obviously watches these big elephant bulls and also learns from them. But I saw there for a moment it looked like he was trying to fit his tusks in between those two big tusks.
We love all creatures in the African bush, from the biggest to the smallest, including the tiny little insects and arthropods, but some of them are not as charming as we'd like them to be. So that's why I trust peaceful sleep. And it lasts up to 8 hours too, so I can stay out longer, both at day and night, and not feel like I'm somebody's snack.
Become a Wild Earth YouTube member today and unlock extras and bonuses, like ad-free streams so you can stay immersed in your safari without any interruption. Have your burning questions answered first by me or other expert naturalists. Join now to avoid missing out on these amazing benefits. Help us connect people to nature.
Can you hear that? The wild is calling.
It's essentially a dermal growth. Kind of grows from a cuticle, and it can be cut off and removed and regrow. The other thing is also with elephants, of course, depending on which area, elephants isn't necessarily at risk from massive poaching all throughout their range, only in certain parts of their range, especially in East Africa. But yeah, these three elephants have certainly caused for some amazing views around Oldonio's watering hole. Such a small watering hole with such massive presence. Just look at those two beautiful animals. You can see the one at the back, the younger one, is kind of closely following that one now. I think he's realized that the big one doesn't want to pay attention, so maybe he got a little bit more attention from the other one. And often after they have drank, they do scour an area to check it out, just to see if there might be any other interesting elephants that's moved through the area. Okay. Well, there we go. I wonder what the age difference between these elephants are. Between that one on the far right and the one on the left is probably about 5 years or so. And the other one, even another 4, so maybe 10 between the oldest and the youngest one there. You can see the oldest one has also got his own limit within his patience. He's obviously hogging the water inlet there. But that little shake and push off to the side was just to tell him that they're getting too close. A little bit close for comfort. They are beautiful creatures indeed. You can see that one in the middle. He looks like he's just waiting his chance when the bigger one moves away to try and get to the water inlet. So, we got a question from CER50. All we need next is for 1 ton to show up. Indeed, CER, I agree. I think that would certainly cause for some excitement. Not that this hasn't been exciting. It's always fascinating just to see the subtle plays within different personalities and subtle relationship clues it gets given. Generally what I can read from the situation is that the other two are aware of this younger one, and it's almost like this big elephant is patient enough, but also has had enough. Lots of interesting birds coming in here. I can see some doves. Some of them look like ring-necked doves, but I'm not too sure. And then there's also what I saw, it looked like some white-browed sparrow weavers. So there's an Amaqua dove as well. It was either an Amaqua dove or a Emerald spotted wood dove. Davis, you're saying you're asking us silly questions. Do baby elephants nurse with their trunks? Davis, that is not a silly question. That's a really good question. They actually drink through their mouth and they receive the milk through their mouth, but they do use their trunk to a certain extent, especially later on, and the trunk helps them in squeezing the milk out of the mammary. Lots of birds coming down to the water now. You can see some glossy starlings there. Lots of doves. Looks like some sparrow weavers. Now they're all looking up again. Maybe another animal joining. And I think it's so hot here at Aldonio today that it's literally also not worth the effort to exert too much. It's almost like that elephant in the middle is just literally testing the waters here. He's having a drink, but he's also trying to push the boundaries a little bit. Oh, now we got some interesting views here of the birds. You can see some superb starlings. There is some sparrows, some of the grey-headed sparrows. What a beautiful bird, that superb starling. And there were some weavers earlier. Here we go, there looks like one ring-necked dove. Imagine if you're as little as these little birds, trying to stay out of that massive feet there. And that massive feet is part of the reason why it's so trampled around these watering holes. Here we go, there is indeed another elephant that's shown up. Another tuskless elephant. And now the younger elephant is seeming a little bit... looks like somebody's ran in on his parade. Wonder why. But this is also a very large elephant. Even though he doesn't have the impressive tusks. But what a sight. There's always something relaxing about the almost monotonous movements of elephants around the water, especially when it's bulls like this. Normally when you have a herd of elephants, things can become a little bit more crazy all over the show. Little elephants tend to play, very playful, especially young bulls. But once you have these older bulls, there's always like a bit of respect that maintains some sort of an order. And then you have that monotony in the movements of the ears flapping, the trunks coming down, slurping up water, coming back up, splashing them on either side. And it is quite soothing, it's quite calming. And for all of us looking at this, I think it's a very, very good way to be spending the afternoon. The only thing is that it's also deterring a lot of other creatures from coming to the water's edge. As you can see, the birds desperately trying to come back and forth, even though they're very good at taking their chance when they can. So I've got a comment from Jive Bunny saying that you've seen some amazingly large raptors here at Oldonyo at night. At the same time as the elephants. That's pretty interesting. I know that some of the raptors moving at night time, like the owls for instance, not sure which raptors you saw. Would love to know which raptors come down at night time. Sometimes secretary birds might move, but generally mostly owls. But that's quite good to know. And I'm sure in that case they might come up closer. Maybe it's the confidence under the cover of darkness. But I've seen some interesting videos from nighttime here at Oldonyo. If I'm not mistaken, I actually saw another creature that I haven't seen here at Oldonyo yet is buffalo. And the buffalo sometimes come at night time, come and have a drink. I believe a while back I saw a video of a lioness stalking a buffalo in the cover of darkness without the buffalo even knowing that it's there, and then eventually just walked around and gave up. Nina Brown, you're asking why don't oxpeckers land on elephants? That's a very good question, Nina. Short answer, they've got a trunk. That means that they can get all those hard to reach places right up on the shoulders, on the head. There's some guinea fowl coming in. But having said that, an oxpecker can sit on anything from small as a warthog all the way through to the giraffe, and of course on rhinoceros and buffalo. But I have seen birds on elephants in East Africa. Well, in Uganda I saw a crow-like creature known as a piapiak sitting on the back, which was rather unusual while the elephants were resting in the shade. And I know some areas in East Africa there are even reports of cattle egrets doing the same, although I haven't seen that.
Join Wild Earth Travel on a unique nature adventure in the Greater Kruger Park. Legendary master tracker Renius Mhlongo leads a 4-day animal tracking experience in the Sabi Sand Nature Reserve. This experience offers a life-changing chance to track Africa's iconic animals on foot with a master of his craft. Renius is joined by Wild Earth presenter and expert storyteller Amy Krantz, and together they will connect you to Africa's wild heart.
Become a Wild Earth YouTube member and unlock exclusive bonuses and benefits. Enjoy uninterrupted, ad-free streams so you can stay immersed in nature. Have your burning questions answered first by me or other expert naturalists. Enjoy exclusive access to special broadcasts and videos, and help us to connect people to nature.
We understand that not everybody has got spare pennies to rub together at the end of the month. We're introducing an initiative called Gift an Explorer.
So that those with lots of pennies can gift a Wild Earth Explorer access to those with fewer.
We're aiming for 250 gifts, but the more the merrier.
You can nominate a recipient or keep it anonymous.
It's a great way to share the Wild Earth mission with other nature lovers around the world.
Now we can see that these elephants have literally just spent their rest period here. And that young elephant has gradually started building a bit of frustration, and I think he wanted to get to that water inlet, which this big one with the one tusk has just been hugging. Look at that giraffe longingly staring at the water. I've got a question from Barry. How long can an elephant lie down? Barry, that is a good question. Apparently not long, especially a big elephant. They generally, from what I've heard, a number given in this regard is usually 20 minutes or so. But I do know that younger elephants tend to lay down, and they often lay down for a couple of hours, like 1 to 2 when they're younger. But as they grow older, the weight of their body can hamper their breathing and potentially cause some serious issues for a very large elephant, and that's why they generally will rest up, either standing up against a tree or on like a surface, like a bank or a termite mound or so. But having said that, I've also had an elephant break into a small camp one night, a very large elephant bull in must, and that elephant was laying flat down, sleeping on his side, snoring for what was more than 40 minutes while we were trying to get ready to go out for the morning. It was quite an experience, not one I've had previously or since, and also unusual, not one I expected. So I'm not 100% sure, but generally the idea is that it's not for too long. There is a oxpecker hanging on the lip of that giraffe, which is, this elephant's just covered it up now, but that was quite spectacular to see, like doing a bit of acrobatics there upside down on the giraffe's lip. And then Daniel Sophia is asking, when Ellie's laid down, doesn't it affect their organs like their heart and lungs? Daniel, indeed it does. It does affect the, so an elephant's lungs doesn't have a cavity like our own and other animals, known as a pleural cavity between the side walls and the lungs. It's actually, the walls form part of the lungs, and hence that makes it very difficult for the animal to breathe properly, especially if it's obstructed by laying on one side, and that could potentially obviously affect the heart. You can see these giraffe are getting increasingly more desperate here. It does look like the sky has opened up a bit. The cloud has given a way to a bit of the sun rays coming through, so it's very, very hot currently. And of course, this is also the best time for a male giraffe to come and have a closer inspection of that female. That is a beautiful male giraffe. It looks like rather young still. It looks like the animals are playing a bit of a roundabout here around the watering hole. Look at this elephant. Not too willing to share. Just had to do a round back to the water inlet. Now, giraffes known to be quite gentle, even though between the males the fights can be quite brutal when they try to protect themselves from predators. With those long legs they can deliver devastating kicks, but not known to take out their frustration on other species, and usually tend to move away. So it is interesting to watch this frustration build within them to the point where eventually they just take a chance. Now the elephant looks quite content now, so maybe this giraffe knows now's the chance. Even the guinea fowl. See all the guinea fowl coming to the one corner. And this female giraffe still nervously looking around. But that is quite a spectacular sight. An elephant bull between two giraffes. And once again, just playing a bit with our distorting our perspective here. And there we go. Females.
Join the Wild Earth YouTube superfan community and unlock a world of additional perks. Get exclusive early access or discounts to Wild Earth travel deals. Wear the best bush attire with merchandising discounts. Enjoy an interactive live monthly private safari. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan experience. Join the YouTube superfan community today. Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive. What a nice view of this giraffe up close.
can see the differences in the markings throughout the body. That tail tip, it looks almost groomed. You can see the black spots on the face. And have a look at how that oxpecker opportunistically takes this chance to get the ticks from the eye. And inside the ear, those are the areas that the giraffe can't really reach on its own, where the ticks crawl to. And you can see those thick folds of skin up onto the back side of the giraffe. Oh, oh. That's a bit of excitement here in the last 10 minutes of this afternoon's show. You can see the ever opportunistic impala came in for a drink. Also, I think that might be the first time I've seen the giraffe run through this watering hole. Elephants clearly just asserting their dominance over there. Wyatt is asking, why don't those birds have feathers on their legs? Wyatt, I'm assuming you're talking about the secretary bird. So the secretary bird hunts snakes and reptiles mainly, but they often go after snakes, and for that reason those legs, those long legs, give them a height advantage, but it also gives them a padded leg. It makes sure that they are well protected against potential bites. When they walk around through the tall grass like that, they often stumble upon even though they've got very keen eyesight, they often stumble upon their prey, and in the case of it being a snake, they need to have some protection from the snake's bite. And the theory behind it is that those legs are developed and padded by thick scales to aid them in that. But have a look at that. What an interesting looking bird indeed. They do have a massive wingspan, and believe it or not, they can fly. Very unique looking raptor this. You can also see the very sharp bill. Used to make short work of any snake or reptile that it catches. It tends to be a belief that they only go after snakes, but they also go after lizards, sometimes large lizards, even monitor lizards. And they use those sharp talons of theirs to kick. Also interesting though that they do go and they bother, the elephants go and they do bother all the other creatures, but they do not seem to be worried too much about this bird. Not sure what happened. I think my screen had a bit of a freeze there. I just saw some animals probably getting chased or reacting to to an elephant's movements. Saw an eland there again. Always a nice surprise. Ooh, we can see when we have the closer views like this to the water's edge now with all the guinea fowls, and you can see all those flying insects around there. Lots and lots of critters flying around. And look at the elephant just stopping and pausing a moment to check out all the birds. It's interesting that such a large creature would concern itself with even the smallest little creatures around them. There's a beautiful contrast. Look at those helmeted guinea fowl. Beautiful birds in their own right. Can be very noisy, but often entertaining. Deb Davis, very happy that you had a fun show, and thank you for joining us this afternoon as well. It was indeed another brilliant afternoon. Lots of fun around Old Donyo here. Tao's also been very helpful, and it was good to check in at Wengi this afternoon. But from all of us here at Wild Earth, I hope you join us again tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to say good afternoon and have a wonderful rest of your Saturday.